Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of the Ratliff Mandolins Weekly Production Diary. What do I have on the job jar list this week? We have our last 4 mandolins in our current batch, 9, 10, and 1 and 2, believe it or not. And so what we're going to do this week is we're going to take number 9 and 10 and try to get the final coats of finish on it, which means we're going to sand it down, shoot a coat of finish on it, sand it with a finer grit sandpaper, and so on and so forth until we're happy with what we've got, and then we'll be done with that. And then we're going to take our guitar-shaped mando-cello and see if we can't put strings on this thing and play it. That's the 3 main jobs that I have on the job jar list this week. So let's get to it. It is Tuesday morning, day 2. Yesterday, I got all of mandolin number 9 sanded out just before my first mandolin student showed up yesterday evening, so I didn't get to shoot any new finish on mandolin number 9, but it is ready for it. Today, I will probably just go ahead and sand mandolin number 10 as well, and then try to do whatever shooting I do on both of them at the same time. Although if mandolin 10 takes the same amount of time as mandolin number 9, I probably won't get done with it today because it's already pretty late in the morning. I spent a couple hours this morning fixing some light bulbs and just doing some building maintenance, and bigger part of the morning is already gone. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on mandolin number 10. We'll see how far we can get with it today, and that's what we'll do. Well, as it turns out, I was pretty accurate in my prediction of what all I would get done yesterday. I think I've mentioned it before, but I have some friends come by on Tuesday evenings and we play music. And just as they were showing up, I was finishing up the last of the sanding on mandolin number 10 here. So we have both 9 and 10 now ready to shoot the final coats, which is the first thing we're going to tackle this morning. We'll see how far we can get and if we can actually get the last coats put on without having to do anything else. And then that won't take too long, so then we'll tackle this thing right here, the big guitar-shaped mando-cello, and we'll see how far we can get today with the job of getting all the hardware and the strings on it. Time to go to work. watching that footage from yesterday, you can see we had a pretty good day yesterday. I did indeed get the final coats of finish on mandolins number 9 and 10. I'm pretty happy with what happened, and they are hanging in the front room now, just drying, curing, and awaiting this process. And you saw me get started on putting the hardware and stuff on this K5 mando-cello. I got as far as putting a rough nut on and the tuning keys, and we're working on the tailpiece right now. Previously, I had already fit the bridge to this thing, so hopefully we're going to be able to play a tune on it today. Now, I do have some errands to run in town this afternoon, so I'm going to get right with it in hopes that I get as far as I want to get today and indeed play you a tune on this instrument. So, here I go. And so the K5 mando-cello is done. My normal procedure from this point on is to contact the customer and let him know that I'm ready for his final payment. I'll hold the instrument until the check clears, and then we'll ship it out of here. Now, somebody's asked for a detailed video of all of the shipping procedures and all like that, and so maybe in the next 2 or 3 videos we'll do that with this particular instrument here, so that you can see all of the ins and outs on how to ship one out of here. Now, as promised, for the rest of the video, we're going to go and start laying out all of the mandolins and pieces and parts that we have, and get the next batch started. So I'm going to go build a fire in the big room, and we'll just step in there. I'm in the big room now, and I have assembled the work orders for this coming batch. And as you've seen, that I've got all of the tags, the numbered tags laid out and ready to go. I have here a whole batch of mandolin parts in boxes and buckets. I've got some necks and neck parts. I've got mandolin bodies without necks put in them, and apparently some mandolin bodies with necks put in them. So what we're going to do is take each of the mandolins in our batch of 10 work orders and then go through this pile of stuff and see if anything matches up, lay out bodies and necks and whatever we have to match with those work orders, and then we're going to put the tags with them, either wrapped around an entire mandolin or just in a box saying, okay, these are the parts for number 3 or 5 or whatever, and then that way we'll have everything laid out so that we know what we're going to build, and here are the pieces that we're going to build them with. So that's what we're going to do right now. I have went through everything, got all 10 mandolins laid out, and I'll go through them with you right briefly. Mandolin number 1, it's going to Missouri, and it's the mandolin that's going to be green this batch, believe it or not. So I have a back, a set of sides, and a top put on, and a neck laid out for it. Number 2 is going to a fellow in Warwick, New York, and I really don't have he wanted some special maple, and I don't have that laid out yet, and so I have a top and a neck, and that's about all I've got laid out for that right now. Number 3 is going to a fellow over in North Carolina. He wanted tortoiseshell binding, and I've got that, and I don't have a back laid out for it, but we will before we're all said and done, won't we? Number 4 is going to California. Again, the fellow wanted some special maple. I don't have any sides bent. I've got a really nice neck here laid out, and that's about all I've got for him right now. Number 5 is going to a fellow in Ohio. He wanted a master model, and I've laid out enough wood to do this one in the leftover bird's eye maple, and so I'm going to call him and see if that's all right with him. If he wants it, we'll make that mandolin for him out of bird's eye. And number 6 is going to a music store, as well as mandolin number 7, and I'll tell you more about that whenever we get that far along. Mandolin number 8 is going to be a R5 Country Boy, and it's going to have an armrest and a pick guard, going to a fellow in Ohio. Number 9 is also going to a music store, which I will tell you about later. And so is number 10, and number 10 is going to be a master model. So of this batch right here, we have one oval hole and at least 3 master models going. So it'll be an interesting batch. And what I'm going to do now for the rest of the day is I'm going to go upstairs, look through all of my spruce, and gather probably at least, I need at least 3 tops, so I'll probably gather 5 or maybe even 7 or 8 tops and do them all together, and then pick the best of the best and all like that, and lay the rest of the stuff up on the parts shelf. And so that's how I'm going to spend the rest of my day. Next week we will have numbers 9 and 10. We'll have in the current batch we'll have had enough time to cure out, and we'll probably polish number 10 out to ascertain the polishing properties of the cardinal lacquer, and then we'll make up our mind what we want to do as far as the big mando-cello, which still needs its clear coat applied. So that's probably how we'll spend the bigger part of next week, and I certainly hope that you come back next week to see how that all worked out on the next episode of the Ratliff Mandolins Weekly Production Diary. Hope to see you then.